Hi everyone, it's been a while since I last reviewed this range of figures, and since then we've had the release of Russian and Prussian troops, but there are now huge amounts of other unit types dropping on Aliexpress. I'll show you the Russians and the Prussians later, but let's jump into the new releases first. You can find links to everything in the pinned comment below or the video description. First off, artillery have now been released. There are Russian and French artillery crews. You'll receive an artillery officer and 3 artillery men if you go for a pack, and this is the first opportunity to get a Russian officer type figure, so this could be a multi-use pack. At the time of making this video, it's £3.88 for a pack of 4, which with tax will probably work out just over £1 a figure. What use are artillerymen without something to fire? Fear not, artillery are now also available. Costing £4.11 each, you can pick up 2 different types. There's been some scepticism online around the colour scheme of these, but cannons would be painted in similar colours, and howitzers as well. Perhaps the colouring is a little bit bright, but I'll let you know when I get my hands on some. If you're someone who's happy to modify things, perhaps some weathering techniques could be used. But that's not all. There are new infantry units released as well. Do you need to break open some gates with an axe amongst other duties? A French sapper may be just what you need. These guys have the beard, as you would expect, a huge axe and an apron. Don't want the British getting all the credit for the Peninsular War? Add some Portuguese troops into the mix. This is the first outing in the series for this nation, and they look great. Speaking of the British, you could add some of the King's German Legion to your army. This figure appears very similar to the original British Fusilier figure, but has blue facings and grey trousers, which is an excellent and realistic touch on the leg printing. Those eyes, however. Hessian light infantry complete the lineup, and aside from some stunning printing and interesting boot design, they also have a unique pom-pom and plume piece. Finally, if zombies are your thing, and I'll say right now they aren't something that I'm into, a zombie version of the British Fusilier has been released. Could be a good way to make something similar to Terry Pratchett's monstrous regiment, however. They've also released a few other figures in zombie mode. Again, links to everything I've mentioned are in the pinned comment, and if you do buy through those links, you'll also be supporting this channel. So, I have got some of the Russians and the Prussians to show you. These were released earlier in the year, but other projects of mine got in the way that were also using the table that I'm using to review, which has stopped me filming them until now. The Russians are styled ready for fighting in 1812. We've got a hussar dressed in all the finery and style that you would expect, and a brand new cavalry sabre piece. The Pavlovsky Grenadier has wonderful printing and a mitre cap. The mitre had been phased out by the Russians following the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, but the Pavlovskys were stubbornly still wearing it at the Battle of Friedland in 1807. As a result of their bravery in the battle, Tsar Alexander allowed them to continue to wear it, which is why this chap is still displaying it in 1812. Next, we have a Russian foot guard and Russian line infantry, both of which are wearing the Kiwasheko piece. The most interesting thing here, aside from this being the first time that the taller plume has made an appearance, is that there's a greatcoat for the line infantry. This really is a lovely piece, if a little fiddly to get in place. The model is supplied with tan and green arms for whether you're wearing them with or without greatcoats, which I think is a lovely touch.
Sire, the Prussians are in the woods! Blucher is in the woods!
I made one mistake in my life. I should have burnt Berlin.
Yes, here are the Prussians. The printing is lovely, and generally it's a recolour of the Russians for the chasseur, the skeletal hussar, and the guard grenadier. The hussar has a skull and crossbones on his shako, but it's a little faint to look at. It's still a stunning model, but just a bit hard to pick out that detail. Do forgive my attempts at Prussian here, but the next model is probably the most unique of the Prussians, which is the Landwehr model. This features a Schirmutz cap. Interestingly, they went for the New York police style cap rather than the older Lego police cap, which may have been more of the correct shape. I presume this was to allow space for the printing at the front of the cap. There's also a new musket piece, which is held by the chasseur. So, I hope you've enjoyed that tour of the updates to this series since my last video. If you're looking to buy these models, and I really would suggest you do, given how cheap they are and the amazing quality of the printing of the parts, take a look at the links in the description and the pinned comments for affiliate links to buy, and clicking those links will ultimately support this channel. Of course, please do like, subscribe and comment if you've enjoyed what you've seen today. Let me know what you think of these models. Thanks for watching and see you next time.